PowerPoint. Guys, so my reading month, March, April, whatever month we just passed, was the best reading month I have had in a very long time. April was the month we just passed. I started a lot of new series, obviously, because that's who I am as a person and as a reader. I think if I were to count the number of series I'm reading right now, or that I have started, we're looking at like double digits, starting with the number 2, so in the 20s, maybe. And if you're new here, my name is Anna Marie, and I like to talk about books, mostly fantasy, and then also some fantasy mostly. So since April was such a killer month, and I have another video coming out soon with my April wrap up, I want to keep it going. I want to keep the momentum going in May, and I realized that this is only because I am not working 8 hours a day. So I'm spoiling myself, and it's going to be really, really sad when I go back to working 8 hours a day and I have to stop reading as much as I am right now. But I'm recognizing the silver lining of the time that we are in currently, in which I am able to read more. So let's stop with the rambling and talk about the books I want to read in May, shall we? So these are the books that I would like to read in May. Do you know the saying, your eyes are bigger than your stomach? It's like when you're at a buffet and you have one plate and you want to put everything on one plate, and so it's like a foot high, and your parent looks at you and they're like, I think your eyes are bigger than your stomach. And you're like, no, you can't let them be right, because you know exactly how much food is on your plate. So you go sit down, and then 2 minutes in, you realize this is a lot of food. This is way too much food. That's what we're doing this month. Except instead of food, obviously we're referring to books. I have a lot of books I want to read in May. A lot of them are continuations of a series. A lot of them are new series. I've got some fantasy and some sci-fi, not surprised. And yeah, I'll show you what I would like to read in May. Let's do it. Before I show you what I want to read in May, I will tell you what I'm currently reading right now. Some of these I will definitely get finished before May because it's the 20th. So I have 2 days left, so I will finish some of these. So because of the highly anticipated Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, that is a title. Dang. Because that is coming out very soon, I just on a whim picked up The Hunger Games. Don't look at my nails. I picked up The Hunger Games, and this is a really, really fast read. I haven't read this, gosh, in like 5-6 years. I read it several times when it, was new and everybody was into like the YA dystopian thing. And I read it several times, but I haven't read it in a really long time. And I was getting this nostalgic feeling for the new book that's coming out. And I was like, I just need some Katniss Everdeen in my life, even though she's a tad bit annoying. So I picked it up. I'm actually listening to the audio version of this. And since it's like a really quick read, I can listen to it faster than I usually do. So I am about halfway through. I expect to finish this today, hopefully. And I want to go ahead and pick up the next 2. I don't know if I'll finish these in the next 2 days. So I'll probably have these in my May TBR. Like a lot of people, my favorite is Catching Fire. But only because Mockingjay tears my heart in half and steps on it and then throws it into the trash can. But it's amazing. It's a great series. I am interested to see what the new continuation looks like. And it's not really a continuation. It's like a prequel villain origin story with President Snow. But I have had bad experiences with continuations of a series. Like, it comes out with a new book in the series. That happened to me with the Legend trilogy. I really, really loved Legend, Champion and Prodigy. I might have those two mixed up. I loved that trilogy, and I thought it was a great ending. And then she came out with Rebel, and I read 2 chapters of it, and I was just like, I don't need this in my life. I don't need it. But I have pre-ordered Ballads of Songbirds and Snakes. That's really hard to say. And so I'm going to read it when it gets here, and it'll be great. I also picked up a middle grade that I got a while ago. The Boy, the Bird, and if you can see that, The Boy, the Bird, and the Coffin Maker by Matilda Woods. This is just a really, really short middle grade. I've read some really great middle grades lately, and this one just looks really fun. Well, not fun, obviously, because Coffin Maker implies death. Because it's so short, hopefully I'll finish it today or tomorrow. So I'm also almost done with The Clone Army Attacketh, the Shakespeare Star Wars Part the Second, and I'm like really close to being done with this, which is, it's amazing. It's great. It's fun. I love this series, and I'm going to continue with it in May. So that's another book in May that I'm going to read. And next is one I'm very excited about. I am currently reading The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. There's a lot of shininess happening right now. I am not very far into this. I'm taking this kind of slow. I have the audiobook, but I prefer to sit down and just read the physical copy. And I don't want to listen to this while I'm doing other things because I want to like really focus on it. So I'm reading it slowly, which is totally fine. But I definitely will continue and hopefully finish this in May, and I'm excited. So I have no idea what order I'm going to read these in, and that's a serious problem because I want to read them all, and I don't know which one to pick up first. But the first one in my stack over here is Grey Sister by Mark Lawrence. I just read Red Sister in March. I'm messing up the months a lot. I read Red Sister in March and loved it so much. So I want to continue on with Grey Sister. I talk a little bit more about this series in my last video where I kind of did a review of the first book in a couple series. This is just a really, really great fantasy series. And it has assassin nuns. So there. This next one is actually a self-published book that the author sent me to read and review, and that is Voice of War by Zack Argyle. So this is a fantasy book. It has been compared to Brandon Sanderson and kind of marketed toward Brandon Sanderson fans, which obviously I am. So I don't really know a lot about this, and I don't really want to, so I'll just read you the back. It says, "To the east, a man will sacrifice everything he has to protect those he loves. To the west, a sheltered girl seeks to find her place in the world. To the south, a young man's life changes after he dies. Together, they will change the world, whether they intend to or not." Okay, that's a cool description. I'm really excited, and it's not too long, so I'm going to get into this very soon. So this next one, I'm still questioning what state of mind I was in when I decided to do this. But it'll be fun. It may just be a lot of ranting. I'll tell you. Okay. So a lot of several booktubers on Twitter all realized that we were interested in rereading the Throne of Glass series because, you know, we had either all read the Crescent City book 1, or, you know, some of us haven't read this series before and some of us have. I have. I read the series. I enjoyed it. It has a lot of flaws, but it was fun. So yeah, there is a group of us that are doing a reread, one book every month, and May is the Throne of Glass. The Throne of Glass. I am pretty nervous about this actually because when I read it the first time, I was new to high fantasy, and I mean I just like ate it up, and after I finished each book I was like, okay, some things just didn't really sit well with me, and like there were a couple flaws, but overall, like I said, I really enjoyed it, and I'm really worried that this time around I'm only going to be nitpicking at every flaw and just doing like a hate read, which I don't want to do because I enjoy the memories of reading this series. So I'm going to try and keep an open mind. And there is a difference, I feel, between books that we read to entertain us and then books that we read because we think that they will leave a lasting impression on us. And this one is definitely an entertainment book. So I'm hoping it will entertain. We shall see. Next is a sci-fi, which should be fun. I haven't read a sci-fi in a long time, and that is Sleeping Giants by Sylvain Neuvel. I think I've put this in like 3 of my videos so far, so it's about time that I actually pick it up and read it. This is You've probably heard the synopsis because it's been in several videos, but this is about a young girl who falls into a giant pit and realizes that she is actually in a giant metal robot hand. And so this is just about her growing up, and she's on a team that's trying to like figure out where this has come from, what to do about it, and kind of what it means for humanity. So next I've got a continuation in a middle grade fantasy series, and that is Keeper of the Lost Cities Exile by Shannon Messenger. I read the first one in March was it April? I read the first one in a month that is before this month. And I really, really enjoyed the first one. It reminds me a lot of Harry Potter, except just a different magic system. So I had a lot of fun reading the first one, and this is like I think it's an 8-book series, soon to be 9-book series maybe. So I'm really excited about this. Also, it has a unicorn on the front. Well, unicorn with wings. What's that called? Alicorn? According to the inside of the book, it's called an alicorn. So that should be interesting. So a lot of the books I picked for this month, I picked because I know that other booktubers, some of my favorite booktubers, have recommended these books, and they've like raved about these books. So this first one is An Ember in the Ashes by Saba Tahir, and so many booktubers have recommended this and said that it is incredible. Specifically, I first heard about it on Catherine's channel, Catherine Reads, and she has a whole video telling us that we need to read this. So it's happening. I'm picking it up. I have the audiobook. So this next one I was actually pretty hesitant to pick up, but because I've seen so many good reviews on BookTube, and then I've also seen some not so great reviews, but I just decided that I wanted to form my own opinion, and I picked up The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. I know that Samantha Shannon has the Bone Season trilogy, which I have, but I have not read, and a lot of people really love this. It's 800 pages, but I got the floppy paperback version, so I'm really excited about that. So from what I've heard, we have 2 kingdoms here, one in the east and one in the west, and we've got 2 queens ruling, and I don't know if they're like fighting against each other or if we're just like seeing both sides as they are going through their own thing. But I don't want to know too much because I don't like knowing a lot when I go into books like this. So 800 pages along with like 12 other books. We can do it. We're gonna do it. We're gonna try to do it at least. So the next book, you have probably seen on her channel, A Frolic Through Fiction. It's like one of her favorite books, I think, and that is Circe by Madeline Miller. It is really shiny, and that makes me happy. So this is kind of a retelling of a god that is present in the Odyssey. We don't get a lot from Circe in the Odyssey. She's just kind of present in one scene where Odysseus is kind of passing on his way. And hopefully we get a little bit more insight into kind of her backstory and her magic. And I've also heard that her other book, The Song of Achilles, is incredible, so I might pick that up if I like this one. I really think I'm gonna like this one. So this next one I saw for sale on the Book Outlet and Book Outlet. And I have seen this on several BookTube channels and on Twitter and stuff like that. And that's The Wren Hunt by Mary Watson. Look how pretty this is. I just love the simple black and gold. A lot of times my favorite covers of books are really simple and have maybe 2 colors on them. Like I really love the Brandon Sanderson, the UK covers, just like plain white and then 1 color. Anyway, so this is set in Ireland, and I feel like it's based off some sort of folk tale. It's about this girl. I don't know if she can shapeshift into a wren or if she just is. I feel like it's shapeshifting. And once a year she is chased, and she also works for this secret organization. And it sounds like there's a lot of ancient magic in here, and she might be trying to end the reign of an oppressive ruler. So all things that I really like. And I have saved the best for last because this series has become such a new favorite for me that I can probably without a doubt say that it is in my top 3, if not my top spot for the year of 2020. I know we're only in April. You have no idea what you're going to read for the rest of the year, I feel like this is definitely going to be in the top 3. So you will hear in my wrap up for April that I read The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. I want to say so much about this book. It's amazing. It is a masterpiece. It is dark and it hurt, but it hurt so good. I regret saying that. It's just incredible. And for a debut novel, and the author is so young and she's just brilliant. I watched the interview with Daniel Green and he invited her on and they did this whole talk about like her motivations behind this and why she chose to write on this topic. Anyway, well, I'll get into that later. But I read this in April. So in May, I am going to pick up immediately The Dragon Republic. And this is the sequel in the trilogy. The 3rd book is The Burning God, and it is coming out. I've already pre-ordered it. I think it's in October, November, sometime. We just got the cover reveal for that, and it is gorgeous. Again, it's just these simple covers with like one splash of color, and the rest is just like white. I love it. It's very simple and very minimalistic and really pretty. I am so excited to pick this up and also very scared because a lot of people say that this one just like rips your heart in half, and the first one did that for me, so I'm not prepared. I will say that there are several trigger warnings for this series. It is a very realistic and gruesome representation of war. So you have a lot of bloody scenes. There are trigger warnings for rape. Since this series is actually based around the Opium War in late 19th century China, there is a lot of drug use in here. The violence can get really graphic, and there's actually one scene in the Poppy War that was just so incredibly hard to read because it involves children, like toddlers. So just beware of that. But honestly, I think that gruesome aspect of the book is what makes it so impactful, and it's what makes it a book that I'm never going to forget, because it's an accurate depiction of wartime. And we get a lot of epic fantasies that they have battles and wars going on, and you see the fighting scenes and the swords, and yeah, it's bloody, but like this is a different kind of grim depiction of war. It's very real. And I'm gonna stop talking about it now because I really want to do a dedicated review for the Poppy War, or for maybe the first 2 in the series. I don't know, we'll see. Anyway, this is incredible, and I cannot wait to pick up The Dragon Republic in May. I lied, so that wasn't my last one. I totally forgot to tell you 2 more that I want to read. So I read the first 2 in the Wayward Children series, which were Every Heart a Doorway and Down Among the Sticks and Bones. I read those this month. So I want to pick up Beneath the Sugar Sky, which is the 3rd in the series, and continue reading this. It's very short, so honestly you can read it in a day. I read Down Among the Sticks and Bones in a day, so I could probably do the same with it. And also, once I finish the 2nd one, I want to go ahead and pick up the 3rd one, the 3rd, which is Tragedy of the Sith's Revenge, in the Shakespeare Star Wars series. I'm pretty sure that was like 15 books. So we'll see how that goes. A lot of them are short though, so I think it's gonna be fine. I feel like this video is kind of chaotic, but those are the books that I want to read in May. I have read so many favorites lately, and I can't wait to continue on and read some more favorites in May. I'll see you guys next time.